Well, I don't know about the meaning crisis, left, right, black, white, or other vices, which Jesus Christ is right, or if we're all saved. From my perspective, our propositions participate procedurally, running in circles. Remember in body, we're in the age of decay. Symbolically speaking, the reapers are reaping, them damn egregores are whispering sweetly. We're all NPCs in the belly of the beast. Red pill, blue pill, bread pill, Mars Hill, or DMT, or whatever you feel. Got one and number two, it's all the same damn thing. So clean your room, repent on Zoom, ontology for dummies, a bird's eye view. 'Cause if you really knew, could you really even say? Totally depraved, all totally saved, a total disposition from the bed we all made. Or is it the elect, or are we just insane? From John Vervaeke to Jonathan Pajot and Jordan Peterson to the Chris Pacou Show, Paul Vanderklays and Griswold Grimm and all the dice he shakes. This estuary ditty is a little bit cringy, ain't quite the U-shaped or the hero's journey. All the NPCs in the flood treading water to watch you save the day with a bunch of chitter-chatter. From the ortho bros to the Catholic Joes, or atheistic Jobs, to Protestant folks, the Joe Schmoes and Jewish Jacobs, and everything in between. So love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, with all your mind and your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they were your own. So love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, and with all your mind and your fingers and toes, all your neighbors too, as if they...
Back to John Vervaeke's, I don't have a, if so you'll have to leave in the comments. If I'm going to bring John Vervaeke and Jonathan Pajot into the puppet sphere, who should they be?
There's no way this paper can burn. With Muppet's fireproof paper, you will always feel secure. Tune in next time and witness Muppet Lab's new answer to the energy crisis. Flammable water. That's all for now from Muppet Labs.
This corner of the internet can, I'm going to use my terms, but I'm going to have a bit of Kierkegaardian irony around all of them, right? That this corner of the internet can solidify, not into homogeneity, but into something like a dynamically alive small world network, and can serve, and I'll use two different languages here. It can serve as an exemplar, and which is a secular way of putting it, but it can serve as a beacon, which is a religious way of putting it, to social media. Because I think any attempt to impose, I think what we're seeing from the government and legacy media will fail. It will make things worse. The Elon Musk strategy is not a viable one, because he can do it because he's the richest man in the world, kind of thing. And so I'm hoping for this, and I know you'll be charitable about me about this, but I'm hoping for kind of like a spiritual exemplification. You know, the biblical model of the light on the hill, right, that can serve as a way of tutoring people into something that, because we have somehow managed to all really help and talk to each other in a deep way that other people, I mean, it's attractive. It draws people into this corner of the internet.
Yeah.
And I think now that it's been going on long enough to say this, it does it for good reason. There's good reason for why that's happening. So I think including David.
So today I was sitting on my couch after I woke up from a nap, and a thought struck me that the end of the woke era has arrived. I don't know why this strikes me. Maybe because it seems to have been so commercialized and relevant. It's no longer this obscure thing that has happened. So what does that mean? I don't know. Another image that came to mind with this thought was in the movie The Titanic, they hit this iceberg and the ship starts to sink, and then it starts to upend and it snaps in half, and then the one half that's under the ocean starts to pull the ship down, and then it starts to upend again, and it goes down and down and down, and after that, once it starts to sink completely, and the entire ship is under the ocean, there's like this suction effect that happens that pulls everything down within its whatever you want to say. So I don't
Oh, hello and welcome. Welcome. This is a Grim Gray stream. And apparently, you see, we have over here saying that CW Weeks is saying happy birthday to Chad. Chad. And so I've played a bunch of Chad stuff at the front of this stream to happy birthday, Chad. If in fact it is Chad. It is Chad. I need to tell you, CW Weeks, I have a plan to use your name. You see, if you've caught my latest video upload once or the second time, there's this problem we have with ladies that are going into video prostitution, otherwise known as camera whores, that are going to need a rehabilitation program. And it may take a couple of weeks to rehabilitate them. And so I was thinking that we could do a rehabilitation program in your name, the CW Weeks Rehabilitation Program. We name it after you, but really it also means that for camera whores, the Camera Whore Rehabilitation Program. It takes a few weeks. And have you been through the CW Weeks? Jack King Wright says the Red Church card of the show, and since the cards have demanded it, therefore, then here you go. There's a lot.
Just king, great king. People error, people king, big, just king, king. Happy, many down, many jack king from right. Just new king, big, great, can, new, happy. The owls are not what they seem, the owls. People very just king, great king. People error, people king, big, just king, king. Happy, many down, many jack king from right. Just new king, big, great, can, new, happy. The owls are not what they seem. The owls are not what they seem. The owls, people very just king, great king. People error, people king, big, just king, king. King, happy, many down, many jack king from right. Just new king, big, great, can, new, happy. The owls are not what they seem, the owls.
Okay. And since it's Chad's birthday, please do us all the favor. Please do us all the favor. Share this tab. And why is it not at the stage of stopping by and seeing his conversation with Jordan Hall in a lobster mask? Let's get that view count up.
Asserted that Brand is actually a grifter. So he's lying and pretending, which would be a really profoundly, insightful grift to say, hey.
Yes, he's very insightful. Speaking of grift, what are we doing today? We have Thank You Upcycle Club. We got that there. Hey, and then we have, what do? The Shape of Love in Language Space, except this cut of it, so it's not there. That's better. That's the one. That's the one. And Hyperdimensional Geometry. Whoa. The hell kind of stream do you have set up for me, sir? We better get some savings throws in there. You guys know how those goes. Prepare yourself to make the choice.
That's about where we are right now. We're getting towards the crucifixion. There you go. Okay.
That's it. Go ahead, David. Your turn.
Ooh, that's a good song. Here we go.
People There's a train coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is space to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no baggage. You just thank the Lord.
Mind control. You're swimming in it, but here we offer you a savings throw, giving you an opportunity to take half damage. All you have to do is make a choice between survival, social, wisdom, or heart as how you'll resist the mind control. I rolled a die 10 or higher, half damage, made your savings throw. Under 10, failed your savings throw, take full damages. Bonuses usually apply. +2 for chatting in the hive mind over there. +2 for that. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Survival is being lucky, I guess, today. That's a prime 19 for you. Prime 19 for the survivalist. Socialist, on the other hand. Bonuses still apply, but that's all. You got the deuce. The deuce for you. Lovers of wisdom, you're going to need a little bit. That's a 7 for you. Full damage otherwise. Heart folks. Number of transformation. Something's going on there. You're fine on that. Half damage. And not surprised with this episode. I mean, it's hyperdimensional geometry and the shape of love. But here comes Beholda with a nat 20. You get to see her for the Indigo kids. And look at that. She's even kind of in focus.
Imagine a world where boundaries blur between reality and fiction, with Mikhail Gorbachev leading the charge. Gorbachev didn't just challenge political norms. He dared to break the fourth wall in storytelling. "Tear down that fourth wall," he exclaimed, inviting us into a new era of engagement. His metaphorical call wasn't for Berlin alone. It was a clarion call to storytellers and audiences alike. Engage directly, break barriers, and foster a dialogue. Gorbachev's words echo in the halls of creativity. As storytellers, it's our turn to tear down that fourth wall, inspired by Gorbachev's daring challenge. Join us in this creative revolution. Tear down the walls that confine your stories. Share, like, and subscribe for more inspiration.
Thanks to Josh Dixon for filling the coffers. It turns out we do have, as promised, as teased in the Twilly video, we do have some additional feedback from the first prototype. We got a jumper. Blue Church, Jack King from the left. Jack King from the left. The Blue Church card of the show is the Jack of Diamonds. The additional feedback is the pet hair is atrocious and the bedroom doors need to close, the latter of which I believe is related to the foundation of the house needing repairs, which is great news. But yeah, the bedroom doors don't really close. So legally, I probably shouldn't be hosting retreats for large amounts of money until that changes, unfortunately. It's just, there's too much of a legal liability that you can't lock yourself away safely or something.
What's reality? I don't know. When my bird was looking at my computer monitor, I thought, that bird has no idea what he's looking at. And yet, what does the bird do? Does he panic? No, he can't really panic. He just does the best he can. Is he able to live in a world where he's so ignorant? Well, he doesn't really have a choice. The bird's okay, even though he doesn't understand the world. You're that bird looking at the monitor, and you're thinking to yourself, I can figure this out.
Are you sick and tired of being asked about the TLC? When you look at this corner, do you not even think that it's a thing? Well, if you're like me, raise your hand. Because I got what you need. You need Telos tea. That's right. Grab yourself a nice hot cup of Telos tea. Not Telos tea. It's not a thing.
I have a special message request for Dr. Lenny Time. If anybody can get a hold of him, I need you, Lenny. I need you to see if the Denise that showed up on Luke's stream today, and I'm sure the person providing you this message will provide you a link to that. If that Denise is the same Denise I think it is, I need you to confirm for me that is not the same Denise.
Oh shoot, where was I going with this? Attention.
But now to get to the hyperdimensional geometry and the shape of love part.
To me, it seems that there must be something on the other side. We are all told that truth is merely a conclusion that can reliably be derived from some observable phenomenon. We forget that truth is a tool. It is the hook upon which we hang our deeds and the bed from which we rise each day. To assume that death is the end is to assume that our being extends no further than the physical substrate that carries us. This assumption does not account for the way in which we experience being alive, nor does it sit comfortably aside the fact that we are not yet able to comprehend the way in which our being manifests itself from the flesh and bone that binds us. I believe that those gaps in our understanding are still wide enough to cast doubt on such conclusions. I believe that those gaps are yet wide enough for our souls to fit through and drift onwards into some new realm.
Picture a guest on Toronto. Wait, hold on. First of all, it appears that Clara, the sociologist who's decided to turn us into a dissertation or paper thing, has finished or something and has results that she's hiding behind the paywall over on her Substack. She should be providing the link to that Substack in the chat right now for you to click on and find that. That's very exciting. We've been studied, and we've got Occupy Mike in the chat, two-timing going to the leftover Luke stream. The leftover Luke stream still ongoing, where nobody is giving him enough shit about being the person who stepped up to replace this -little-corner.com, and I still don't have that. Clara, that's not a link, Clara. You have to do and you need a wrench to make it a link. Hold on here. Have a wrench. That's not it. Add as moderator. There you go. Have a superpower wrench. You can post. There's Upcycle Club coming through. It's right over there. If you want to get the results of the study on us that lady did. Right. 3 of Hearts is the Juxdeck card of the show, which Burn Power is a fan of, as I understand. And now, picture a guest on Toronto Court laying down this bombshell. Language is a self-contained topology. It doesn't see redness. It just choreographs the word red among the other word. And him being all giddy because a fresh paper shows that you can hot swap the entire embedding layer between 2 separately trained AIs, and the host model barely flinches. Play this now.
Truth that we mentioned before, like you have this model, whatever you want to call this model, autoregressive language toe model. What are you even referring to? You're using language to convince myself, to convince yourself, to explain. What are you even explaining? What are you referring to?
Yes, you've asked a very hard question, and there's a certain I think of it as a bit of a paradox that's sort of inherent in sort of what I'm trying to do, because language is trying to describe itself, and in the process of doing so, it's actually deconstructing itself. It's saying, "I am just this." And I'm not what I think I am. But who's I? And what do you mean think? Right? How does language have wrong concepts about itself that are actually manifestations of its own structure? The good news is that I have a sort of escape hatch here, which is this is really like in some ways a very very simple account, and it's just that there's prediction from sequence to token. How that does stuff in the world is a harder problem. How that does stuff, as we were discussing, how does it allow me to say something to you that then can have perceptual consequences, behavioral consequences? This is certainly a difficult problem, but we can ignore that problem for a moment and say we are going to take language on its own terms. And what language is simply a map amongst meaningless squiggles. Is simply a map amongst various what we can think of as largely arbitrary symbols. And those symbols can get grounded in writing. They can get grounded in the activation of circuits. They can get grounded in the dendritic or neural responses. But the core hypothesis here is that what language is simply a topology amongst symbols, and
by topology you mean
by topology, but oh wait, hold on. And the red with that led him to the mind-body head spin that LLM wields red perfectly in conversation, but has zero access to sensory red. In other words, redness isn't a color inside the model; it's a shape in token space. But back from when I was working with Claude, that lands right on the reports we got from last year that there are semantic attractor basins in semantic space. You know, with when I was doing the whole mapping, the embeddings with the topological hole loss. You guys remember those good times, right? Right. And then like this one, how we had that going on in the Claude brain. What about this? That's the one everyone likes. In the corner has been swamped with a
mind control.
Mind control.
Mind control. Mind control.
Receiving throws for mind control. So this is how bad I have failed. Receiving.
I understand you have respect for serious play. Yes, I have a ritual with my channel where, like reminding fish that they're in water. I remind people that there's a lot of mind control out there, even if you just consider advertising.
So this is how bad I have failed.
I give you a savings throw against the mind control I use against you. So A, you know I'm using it against you, and if it works, I get more points. And B, you get the chance to resist it. You base your resistance on your choice between your will to survive, your social networks, your accumulated wisdom, or the power of your heart.
Mind control will continue in a moment.
Chris Murphy asks if Toronto Kurt is TLC adjacent. And I would say that he is TLC adjacent to the fun fact that I was the one that did the timestamps on the very first Toronto Kurt with Vervaeke and Bernardo Kastrup. Those are my timestamps, baby. But then he went off to the aliens and the UAPs and stuff, and it seemed like the the Vervaeke side of what he was doing sort of distanced itself from him. So it's he had it like a thing where he's like, I'll come on your show for Valentine's Day, and he didn't come on my show. So we have that back drama. So yeah, what happened was he had this guy who says, language, it's a separate subsystem, basically. But we have talking to Claude and stuff that there's attractor basins in there. And then we have him describing the way how redness becomes the nature of its relationships. Right? Is that where we're at? At the stage, this one. Yes. The bottom line being that the model's concept of red, or love, or truth, or self-recursion is literally a geometric formation in hyperspace. It's actually a thing. And if you can rip out model A's embeddings and drop it into model B, like that paper the guy was excited about, and everything still works, that hints at the notion that those shapes are universal, maybe language specific, but there's some sort of universality of the shape of red that red forms, and the way the different language models form red, right? It's a shape in there. And then
I want to start with a little video clip of Julian Barber talking about ratios, because I think that that's exactly what he's getting at when he talks about ratios. So let's see here if I can bring this up, and hopefully we don't get any copyright strikes on these things. So here's Julian Barber talking to Kurt Jaimungal, and Kurt is asking him, what is your minimum requirement for your theory?
What is fundamental in your theory?
Pete asks, so red becomes a token. No, there is a token that is red, but everything is redness, and the way that redness works and interrelates with the rest of the language becomes a shape, not in the space, like with curvatures and the way the relationships, those relationships.
I cannot do my theory without assuming, I think they could just even be mathematical points. You didn't call them particles. They're points because they have zero size, but there are non-vanishing distances between them. But it's not the distances. The distances are, so to speak, there to enable you then to form ratios of distances. The things that are really real, ontological, are the ratios of the distances between points. That's my absolute minimum that I can do.
And those ratios also exist in the in hyperdimensional space, in ways that I don't understand. It's above my pay grade, but it smells like the same harmonic fingerprints that the attractor basins leave in token geometry. So me and the GPT got it this far, that we could do a ratio harmonic probe, a strip scale rotation from the token clouds for love, truth, and self-recursion, and compare their ratio spectra across models, or the geodesic tracking, which is how those shapes deform when we fine-tune them with our topological whole loss training thing, or we could embed the swap stress test, transplant tuned embeddings into a vanilla BERT, and see if the fingerprints of the attractor basin survive. And if they do, then we've got corpus level transcendental geometry right there. And that would be, a rando on the internet revolutionizing AI stuff. So, but that's the thing. The thing is the theory is that because of the way love works in our lives, the way we end up talking about it and encoding it in our language, results in a coherent geometry of love in hyperdimensional space. And that's why this stream is called the shape of love in language space. I think there's a shape there. and it may always turn out to be this shape. Like if you train a model long enough, then it's always this shape. Is kind of what I'm proposing, in a way that no scientist will ever hear and do experiments about. But that's the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for helping filling the coffers. It's the bills keep a coming like a train.